Good morning. I thought we'd talk about culture. I'd say a few words about culture because I've written about it. It's an interesting thing. This is from my entry on human nature in the Sage Encyclopedia of Business Ethics and Society. First of all, humans are unique with regard to the role played by culture. In addition to biology in shaping individual behavior, culture is a set of values and customs in which individuals are socialized. Biology is an important factor. Culture is also important in terms of human behavior. Cultural values shape but do not determine behavior because individuals and groups have the capacity to examine their culture's assumptions and subject them to analysis. Socrates counseled that the examined life is not worth living. Descartes explored the uncertainties of his own existence, and every generation brings a new round of questioning. Moreover, cultures may coexist, merge, or fragment. Cultures and nations may share boundaries, but varied cultures may also blend in a single nation. Shared beliefs and behaviors, rather than physical location or political jurisdiction, characterize cultures. So it's not just something that is defined by national boundaries. The logical structure embedded in many languages of the world facilitate questioning. The concept of opposite or negation invites an experimental mind to invert culturally transmitted propositions. Any culture, however conformist, inspires movements of dissent and reformulations of received doctrine. No culture is fully stable. It is possible almost everywhere to find borderlands where cultures mix and traditions bend or erode. Authority and challenges to it coexist in the borderlands and throughout the contours of cultural evolution. Clyde Cluckhorn, a cultural anthropologist best known for his survey of the many definitions of culture, called culture an abstract description of the trends toward uniformity in words, deeds, and artifacts of the human group. Cluckhorn and other anthropologists have noted that cultures are dynamic and are characterized by processes reinforcing both stability and change. Anthropologists have found considerable differences among the peoples of the world in their practice of gender roles, in their construction of race and class, in their conception of the individual and the collective, in their interpretation of family responsibility and the extended family, in their treatment of elders and assessments of tradition, in their assessment of the proper relations between workers and managers, laypersons and clergy, amateurs and experts, and in their attitudes toward progress, a whole bundle of things. Clyde and his wife found these questions to be central in the differentiation of culture. These questions: the conceptions of inherent good or evil in human nature, the perceived relationship between humans and nature, the emphasis on past, present, or future, the conception of life as being, becoming, or doing, and the patterns of emphasis in primary relationships. Now, management scholar Gerd Hofstede, who's in all these books in management, sought to apply the concept of culture to a business context. We see that there are interesting deficits in his approach. He surveyed the global population of IBM managers to illuminate national differences in values. We've talked about the variables he finds, performance, the five variables that distinguish cultures, but actually there's been movement beyond this in the work of the Global Leadership and Organizational Behavior Effectiveness research program at the Thunderbird School, the GLOBE Project. They find 9 cultural dimensions: performance orientation, assertiveness, future orientation, humane orientation, institutional collectivism, in-group collectivism, gender egalitarianism, power distance, and uncertainty avoidance. So there are many ways to characterize these differences. I think we see that Hofstede assumed much too unitaristic a model of culture. Sociologist Shalom Schwartz proposed a cultural framework contrasting embeddedness, respecting traditional order, and autonomy, harmony and mastery, the quest for success. We see kind of a conflict between capitalistic and more community-oriented norms, and hierarchy and egalitarianism. These values are often arranged in a circle, suggesting multiple axes of interaction. Schwartz derived his model from a survey of the literature, followed by a survey of elementary school teachers and college students. So Hofstede does IBM, Schwartz did college students and elementary school teachers. From an anthropological perspective, patterns of uniformity and divergence are of equal interest. Hofstede and GLOBE appear to emphasize uniformity and stability rather than change and differentiation. Let me close by saying that the process by which the UN established a universal Declaration of Human Rights was one in which societies around the world attempted to find some commonality in their values. They debated the notion of rights. The fact that a document was approved indicates some overlap in the communication and conception of rights, but of course the difficulties in implementation suggest that there's not universal acceptance of the notion of rights as determined or provided by the UN Declaration of Rights. That's all for now.